Alright everybody, hello. Welcome back to my channel. I am Connor of Conscious with Connor. Happy New Year. I know it is February already, but the last 6 or so months have been pretty busy for me. A lot of transitions, physically busy, emotionally busy, spiritually busy. Within the past 6 months, my family has gone through a lot of major health issues. I got married and I moved once, planning on moving within this month, going into next month. So it's been pretty busy, but I've been positive. Trying to stay up on my health game. I went 21 days on a Daniel fast. If you don't know, a Daniel fast is a Christian-based fast where you basically go vegan plus, so no animal products, nothing that comes of an animal, plus no caffeine, no sugar, no processed foods, and nothing with preservatives. So I experienced a lot of great things. My digestion went really well, my skin cleared up really well, but I will save that for another time. Coming back, what I wanted to focus on, especially with the weather going on in Ohio. I live in Ohio and we just had a polar vortex come through where it was about 5 below on average for the past 2 or 3 days, and there was wind chill warnings, schools were closed, government warning saying if your skin was exposed for more than 5 minutes to the cold that you get frostbite, and to not, make skin-to-skin contact with yourself or with anybody else if that did happen, because that could cause more damage, all that jazz. So that, and also leading into the past 6 months, I've been volunteering a lot in Cleveland with churches and different other organizations with giving cooking classes. Volunteering, giving cooking classes to transient, homeless, and nomadic individuals and their families. I say nomadic because during this experience I learned a lot about these people, and a lot of these people were just fed up with societal structure and just decided to become nomads and chose to not have a home. But if you can tell by the title of this video, we're going to talk about homelessness and health. How to remain healthy when you are homeless, and do you have the right, which you do, to be healthy while you don't have a significant, stable, in one spot, brick and mortar home. So to start with the cooking classes that I gave were primarily plant-based. There was one church that was very much against plant-based foods. I'll back up a little bit. One of the organizations I work with in Cleveland is a vegan organization, and they like to celebrate, obviously, vegan foods, vegan morals, vegan values, following the basis of ahimsa, which is Sanskrit for non-harm. If you do yoga, maybe you've heard about this, or if you go to a meditation studio, you might have heard about this. Doing no harm that is within your grasp. A lot of vegans go by the standard of ahimsa. I personally do. And that was the whole basis for this. Also, economically, being plant-based is so affordable and so cheap. So it was great to work with this organization that aligned with my own values and aligned with economic values also. It just made so much sense to teach homeless people and their families how to get a hold of plant-based ingredients and to use those to further themselves. I feel like it's pretty counterintuitive. If you go to a soup kitchen and you are in need, you go to a church, soup kitchen, whatever, a produce drop, then you're just given foods that you don't know how to use, like from a produce drop where about once a month you can go and receive free produce, at least in Cleveland. Most of the time it's secondhand produce. Grocery stores were going to throw it away, but they decided to donate it. Farmers are doing the same thing, what have you. So once a month, people in Cleveland can go to these produce drops, prove their income or lack thereof, and receive this food at no cost. But a lot of times these people don't know what to do with this food. Or if you're in need and you go to an organization, an establishment in need of food, and all you're given are hot dogs and hamburgers on white bread, spaghetti with white pasta, lasagna filled with meat and cheese, and white pasta. The only vegetable you're really getting is maybe what's on the hamburger, like lettuce and tomato, or basically ketchup and tomato sauce from the lasagnas and pastas, and what goes on top of your hot dog. What I found out is that there are vegetarian options in some soup kitchens and different organizations that offer free meals to this population, and that consists of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and maybe a piece of fruit. So what I've been doing is trying to extend myself to different organizations and trying to get the word out to especially the community gardens, produce drops, anything that gives out free produce, low cost produce. What can we do to get it into the correct hands? I did some research, and what I learned was about 80% of free and low cost organizations, resources that are created for this population goes unused or underused, and that's a lot. And in Cleveland, our homeless population, health-wise, you're looking at 50% of them have heart disease, and 60 to 75% of them have diabetes. So that's a huge number to look at when you see that 80% of resources aren't utilized properly, if at all, and we have so many health issues within this population. And one big thing to note, when you are in this situation in your life of homelessness and trying to come back on your feet, health is one of the most important things to keep up. Health is so important because if you can't remain healthy, you can't try and get back out there and do quote unquote better for yourself, whatever better looks like for you. That's why I say quote unquote. Even if you make the choice to become a nomadic individual, a lot of stigmas can be held against you, and then health becomes inaccessible. So that is one of my goals for this year, is to create a voice to those who are seemingly voiceless. And it really upsets me that there's this population of people that are so overlooked. I know how ignorant it might sound that that homeless people are overlooked. Obviously, because many of them are victims of society. They couldn't keep up with the rat race, so they were like forced to get out of the rat race in the most unfortunate way. Or emotionally, they just couldn't handle it. Or they were part of the system. Say a lot of veterans, a huge part of our homeless population in Cleveland are made up of veterans. And they just don't have the mental help, the emotional help, the physical help to get back into society and stay there. So they decide to just check out, or they're forced to, because they can't stay in our world the way we would like them to. So one of my biggest events, and one of the ones that I really enjoyed, I was coupled with a community garden. I found this garden through a couple of good friends of mine that I've worked with volunteer-wise, and just worked in general with for a few years now, about 2 or 3 years, and found a community garden that was just so full. It was so beautiful. I wish I had the footage and pictures to show you. I'll try to, and I'll post them up, but you can check out my Instagram and I'll see if I can dig them out of the archives when I upload this, and I'll try to post them periodically so you guys can take a gander. Whew. It was fantastic. The people were so giving and so loving. They were so open to me and my idea of what I was trying to give to the community. I was gifted so much food for the cooking classes and for myself, like as an appreciation for doing this. And also a lot of the gardeners were just growing things for aesthetics, one, and for, which is fine. And another reason they were growing a lot of things were because they were vegetables and fruits that they hadn't really thought of using before, and they thought if I grow it, I'll do my best to use it. And a lot of the times they didn't know what to do with it, so they would gift it to me to make a recipe, and then I would bring it back to them. And it was just such a great exchange of energy, of gifts, because I'm not that great at gardening, to be honest. I want to be. I know if I learn and apply myself, I probably can be, or I can be, not probably. But, so just to be able to say, wow, this person with such a green thumb was able to grow such a beautiful thing, and here I am, I'm able to take that and to transform it into such another beautiful thing that's so nourishing. You know, the nourishment on so many different levels that, you know, you experience in that type of exchange. It was so great, so great. So that's something that I would love to recreate over and over and over again. One of my goals is also to work through the winter, because our winters are so long here in Cleveland. In the spring and summer, it's so easy to do these kinds of things because it's nice outside and there's stuff growing everywhere. But when it's cold and the community gardens are shut down, what do? Reach out to greenhouses, to different produce shops, grocery stores, ask them to donate the foods that they would throw away. Things of that nature. Winter's farmers markets. I live in a place where we do have a winter's farmers market actually right down the street from me. So that's one of the projects added on to this big project. So going forward into one of my most favorite events that I did, I gave a cooking class that lasted 5 weeks. It was a 5-week series, plant-based. So this was the church that was upset with introducing veganism into it because they believed that people didn't want vegan food, that this population of people didn't want fruits and vegetables, which turned out to be not completely, but pretty much completely untrue. A lot of the people that I had conversations with within this cooking class, one, a lot of them used to be chefs and cooks. And when I mean chefs, I mean they went to culinary school, big culinary schools, traveled the world, went to Europe and Asia. And then they come home. One guy came home to Ohio, opened 3 restaurants. He had 3 restaurants going at once. And then the economy hit a slump and he lost all 3 restaurants and he lost everything because everything was in those restaurants. And now he's homeless, trying to get it back together. But while he was losing everything, he fell into depression and addiction, and he felt ashamed because, you know, he's a man, and it's, you know, in our society, a man has to be bold and brave and have it all together and not cry in front of people and all these other things. And he was completely broken on the inside and lost it all. But now he's in therapy, he is working at a job, still trying to get everything together because he's hopping from shelter to shelter, and then found our cooking class flyer in one of the shelters he was in, and was just really inspired to come because he hadn't cooked in a couple years, which is another thing. When you're homeless, you kind of have to depend on others to cook for you. You really don't have a set facility for you to cook. And that's another part of the project that I'm working on, is working with churches, synagogues, temples, different organizations that are about giving, especially through religious and spiritual reasoning. That's why I mostly reach out to these institutions, because they are so willing to give. So this is a different way to give, a better way to give, and in my sense, a better way to serve God. If I'm going to give up myself for someone, why would I just give anything? You know, if I have the choice to give them something healthy that's going to benefit them, why would I do anything else? So this is how I come to them and approach them. Hey, open your kitchen to anyone who would like to bring fresh produce here. Have someone supervise, someone from the institute supervise the kitchen, and they can use the facilities for free as long as they clean up after themselves. That's my only thing. So that's what we were teaching, is how to teach this population to come in without shame, come in and say, I have my food that I would like to cook. Please allow me to use your kitchen. And the institution says, okay, come right on in. We will have so-and-so, you know, supervising the area so that, you know, no one gets hurt or nothing gets stolen, things of that nature. You don't want to think that way, but you kind of have to in certain situations. And clean up after yourself, and you're good to go. And when given that model through this 5-week series, the one church I worked with saw such an increase of people coming in on Sunday, which is what a church wants, is for people to come in, not just on Sunday, but any day, to come in into fellowship and to spread the word of God this way, right? So come into this church, you're homeless, and you know you can come here on any day and make food for yourself. Make a hot meal for yourself, especially someone who's a chef and they feel like they've been stripped of that title because of how life has become for them. I think it's something that's so reassuring and something that's so empowering for that person to be able to do something that they love, to recommit to their passion and to nourish themselves, and in that way to become stronger and healthier, to get back out there in life and to keep going with their purpose, you know? So that was really great. In that 5-week series, we focused on healthy snacks, soups, we made a veggie burger, and desserts. And then the last meal, we made a huge community meal, inviting government officials, you know, all of the community. We told the pupils in the class to bring whatever family they had, their friends, anyone who they wanted to bring. We were totally open to that. And it turned out great. We had about 50 people show up at the end. On average, the class had about 10 to 15 people every single week. Man, their knife skills were great. Their palates were amazing. They could identify different herbs like right off the bat. It was so amazing. We made lavender lemonade for the last meal. This was in October. We ended in October, so it was still pretty hot here in Ohio. So we had lavender lemonade. We made parfaits with fresh fruit, and we cooked them down to make a compote, raspberries and strawberries, and we served it with a plant-based yogurt and a regular dairy yogurt, because this church was very much not about plant-based for whatever reason. I think they just had a hang up with vegans in general, which whatever. And the soup, we made a butternut squash soup, which had heavy cream in it, but obviously you can replace it with coconut milk, which was my plan. But my plan to sneak in coconut milk into the soup completely failed, because the woman who was completely against veganism like saw that can of coconut milk and just like hid it from me. I don't know where it went. I blinked one moment and it was gone. It was right next to me, blink, it was gone, and it had been replaced with heavy cream. So I'm like, fine. We made a kale salad. We made a pear salad. So we had fresh pears from the community garden with fresh fig and mint and basil, and we made a balsamic dressing for it with lime juice and kale salad, and then we had all types of fruit. We had apples in the kale salad, we had citrus in the salad. Our veggie burger was made out of black beans with fresh herbs and veggies from the garden. So we had fresh cilantro and parsley from the garden that we put in there, and then garlic, onion, and peppers. I'll try to post the recipes down below for all the things that I did for the class. And that was it. And we put them in kale wraps. We had these huge leaves of kale, and huge, completely huge leaves collared, like as big as my head, and I have a pretty big head. And that's what we wrapped the veggie burgers in, and people loved it. They loved it. The fact that they could get something nourishing. I heard this comment so much, wow, I'm eating something green. When was the last time I had something green? And it kind of made me emotional to the point of sadness and anger, because these people are us, you know, in the sense of we're all human beings. We have the audacity to open our hearts and our hands, our shelves and our wallets to them, and yet we dictate what they get in the most harmful and negative way I think we possibly can, especially to those people who I've run into who say, I don't want to donate my money if you're gonna buy vegetables. They can't live off vegetables. They can't live off fruit. That's not what they want. That's not what they're going to eat. It's wasteful. They're just gonna waste it. As if there's some different type of human that just doesn't eat vegetation. Like, I don't understand. The amount of people who told me in these classes that they're about half of the 50 people that I saw at that big community event said they were vegetarian before they became homeless. But upon becoming homeless, they had to just let that go, they realized, because you can't really live off of peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter that's highly refined, and it's only half peanuts and the rest is just like fat, sugar, and salt. Jelly that has high fructose corn syrup and extremely white bread. Like, you can't live off of that. That's not gonna help you become a healthier person, especially if you're someone with these diseases, mental diseases or disorders. It's not gonna help your body heal the way it wants to, so you can get back to the life that you want, and preferably, I feel like, the life that you deserve. We all fall down on hard times, and we all have issues, but that doesn't mean we don't deserve to be the best human beings that we can be in this life. So, that being said, it's been a super busy 6 months, this past 6 months. Working with these organizations has been amazing. I really do feel like this is a calling for me that I never would have imagined would be for me. Being healthy during homelessness is something that's so important, and I think no one really realizes how important it is. Even for people who are low income, I think our societal structure of shame, having to go and ask for help. I know I don't like asking for help, but when it comes to nourishment, because I know that my health is the greatest wealth that I have, and it's really the only thing that I have control over, especially when it comes to my dollar. And if I don't have a dollar, I know I can go somewhere and be in control of something. I think giving that empowerment to somebody who has no stability when it comes to a home is something that's so, so important. The biggest part is making it taste good with little to no salt. That was one big thing. A lot of the homeless population has high blood pressure and kidney issues. So many issues. And a lot of them are of the Black community. A lot of the people who said they were vegetarians before becoming homeless were Black or Latino, but for the most part, Black. And having them taste food that had like little to no salt and enjoy it was something that was so like awe-inspiring that it changed my own diet, you know, for the better. For the better. So just working on breaking the stigma for our society about what it means to be healthy and what it means to be homeless, and what it means when you go out and volunteer that one Saturday a month or that one holiday every year, the classic Thanksgiving or Christmas soup kitchen. Please check with the institution and see what they're serving and why they're serving it. If you want to donate your money, make sure you know where the dollars are going, and make sure you ask, please serve fruits and vegetables, because this population is really in need of those things. If you know of a community garden or a grocery store, talk to them about donating their vegetables and fruits and herbs to soup kitchens and things of that nature, so they can get into the hands that really need them. If you are blessed enough to be able to use your own dollar to buy healthy foods for yourself, then do that. For others, give another dollar to someone else who doesn't have it, so that they can have that same amount of health that you have, until they can do it on their own. A lot of people are so incredibly selfish, thinking that, oh, if you do this and if you do that, you should be able to get back on your feet and yada yada yada. And it's not even about that at this point. At this point, we are at the point where I am a diseased human being, in whatever way, shape, or form, trying to get back in alignment with myself and trying to get back out there into the workforce and do something that I want to do, or maybe even I don't want to do, but I just want to work. Help me, you know, help me. So that is my new venture for 2019, is to make this known that because you're homeless, it doesn't mean that you have to have heart disease, that you have to have diabetes, that you have to have high blood pressure or failed kidneys. That's not what it means. What it means is that you still have a voice, even within your own world, whatever is happening within yourself and within this life that you are living. It's none of my business how you became homeless. I've never asked. People volunteered that information because I never asked. All I asked was how they felt about food. What was their favorite foods growing up? Things of that nature. What were their comfort foods? You know? And how to recreate these foods in vegan style. Like that butternut squash soup, a lot of people said it just reminded them of just something super comforting that their mom would make. Something creamy and delicious and warm and soothing. And that was really great. The veggie burgers were something that especially the guys were excited about, because they love a good burger and they miss a good steak. And this was something that was super meaty and healthy. And of course, there were a couple people who like hated everything, hated everything, and they didn't want to try anything, but that's okay, that's granted. I'm sure that was bound to happen. This was something that was really good, that was really awesome, and I really feel could make a huge wave, just a huge wave. So, that is what I'm working on. Getting institutions to bring plant-based options to soup kitchens and shelters around the city of Cleveland.